All right, folks, let's dive into what we might call the Great Trade War Showdown. And no, this isn't some new Netflix series, though it's just as dramatic. The United States is currently locked in this high-stakes trade war with China, and believe me, it's turning into quite the spectacle. The Trump administration took an aggressive route, slapping tariffs on Chinese goods that reached an astonishing 145%. Just let that sink in for a second. It's like putting a giant "Do Not Enter" sign on the way to your grocery store.
Wow. 145%? So, what's China doing in response? Are they, retaliating with their own tariffs or something?
Exactly. It's like a game of ping pong, and each side keeps smashing the ball right back at each other. China imposed a hefty 125% tariff on American products in retaliation. It's this tit-for-tat escalation. And honestly, it's a bit like two kids fighting over a toy. But instead of a toy, we're talking about global economic power.
Haha, right? So, that sounds dangerous. Who's going to come out on top in this toy fight, trade war?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. The stakes are high because China plays a crucial role in global supply chains. They supply over 70% of the world's lithium-ion batteries and nearly 90% of solar panels. Just think about everything that relies on those products. It's like if you were trying to bake a cake but your flour was suddenly 90% unavailable.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Can they just reroute things to sell to other countries? What would that look like?
Absolutely. China has this incredible flexibility. They can pivot and redirect exports to other markets, essentially minimizing their reliance on the US. It's a chess game where they seem to be several moves ahead. Transitioning manufacturing back to the US? That's a Herculean task involving significant time and investments. Picture trying to shift a massive ship while it's already racing down a narrow river.
Whoa, so the US can't just flip a switch, huh? Is there a chance that, teaming up with allies could give the US a boost against China? Would that work?
Great thought. Yes, experts do suggest that a united front with traditional allies could help weaken China's economic position. But here's the twist. Under the Trump administration, there was often more of an antagonistic approach towards allies rather than collaboration. So instead of pooling resources, it was more like playing tug-of-war with spots open for hurt feelings.
Yikes. So does that mean the US is in a precarious spot with all this voter sentiment leaning towards tougher stances on China? Is there a risk of inflation and economic slowdown making things worse?
Exactly. We're in this tangled web where voter sentiment does want a tougher stance on China due to growing concerns, but it's complicated by fears of inflation and potential economic slowdown. It's like trying to balance on a tightrope while juggling flaming torches, all in front of an audience.
Haha, I'd pay to see that. So, what's the strategy then? Can the US still gain an upper hand?
Analysts believe there's definitely a path to regain the upper hand, but it requires swift, strategic moves. However, we need to consider that Trump is under tremendous domestic pressure, while Xi Jinping doesn't face those electoral constraints. It's kind of like racing a sports car against a tank. One could easily maneuver while the other seems invulnerable.
So, does this mean that if China holds strong, they could start flexing their muscles in other areas too? Geopolitically and stuff? That sounds a little scary.
Absolutely. As these trade tensions escalate, if China can navigate through the trade war successfully, there's a real risk they might pursue more assertive stances in non-economic domains. That could spark greater geopolitical risks. Think of it like a neighbor who, after a big victory, starts putting up fences and claiming more territory in the neighborhood.
Whoa, that sounds intense. So this trade war's impact could reach way beyond just dollars and cents, huh? What does that even mean for us?
Spot on. The results of this trade war could ripple through economic relations and affect broader international stability. It's like dropping a pebble in a pond. Those ripples extend far beyond the point of impact. Let's keep an eye on this dynamic, because it's only just getting started.
I love that analogy. So, what kind of everyday effects could we see from this? Like, could my groceries really change price because of this trade war?
Definitely. Prices could fluctuate significantly, and everyday products might see a rise due to these tariffs. If manufacturers have to pay more for materials, guess who ends up bearing the cost? That's right, the consumers.
Wow, that really hits home. So, staying informed about all this can help us navigate our own wallets better.